Hello, I'm just gonna make a little video showing something that I've been working on for the last 2 or 3 days. And it's a little bit of a Navmesh pathfinding project. I wanted to sort of dive in and try to learn some stuff, so how better than to do it all from scratch. So there's a couple things I guess I'll show off. I gotta play it first. This is just a demo area that I've put together, very simple. It's got some objects in the way. Each room's different, and these are all just labels for where the nav meshes are gonna be. The nav mesh generation system is actually based on planes that I set down. So it's per room, so I can choose the density and the size of each plane, and then it will try to generate a mesh that doesn't go through any of these colliders. So let's see what happens. Okay, so let me turn on nav meshes because it's not on. There we go. So this is the result. Pretty clean. It doesn't look like there's anything that's going through any of these objects. So that's pretty good. Yep, and this room, has pretty much a full graph because there's nothing in it. So I'm gonna just remove that because. Okay. So let's see. There we go. All right. So what you see left is two things. This red bit is actually something that I've done to navigate the Navmesh system. It's very simple. All the pathfinding is done with Dijkstra's algorithm, if you're familiar. I'm not using A star yet, but it's really easy. I just have to swap them out, and I should be good to go. As of right now, the system is just based on, just something easy. But it's completely modular. So this other thing you see here, this red, is actually what is very different in this implementation from typical implementations, and I've kind of done something. I'm not sure if it's common or not. It was just something that appealed to me when I was working on it. So each of these graphs is an individual graph, and you can solve for it. So I figured, well, if we're going to be indoors and there's a limited number of doorways for them to go through, and they're going to have to go to a different room, then why bother doing the pathfinding calculations in between? So what this actually does, this red graph, is a very sparse representation of the entire system that basically draws a node for each doorway that exists. And these doorways are actually also used for connecting the graphs. So I have a game object that's there that basically does a raycast in the beginning to each side and figures out what graphs are connecting to them. So it makes this little connection here. So actually, if you look here, what it does is it takes the point that the character, or whatever you want to move through the scene, is standing at, and draws a line to the first node, whatever that may be, whatever room they're in. And see this green path from this node to this node is actually pre-baked. So on startup, or you can do this at any time. You can just store this in data and just draw it up later. But right now I just have it work in runtime. It will calculate a path between each doorway. So there's one from here to here, here to here, here to here, and then across, and all different which ways. And that's like that for each room. So this is the only complicated section that has got branches. So this is the only one where there's something really interesting going on here. But as you can see, there's a path between each node. So it solves this wimpy small graph first, and then using that small graph, it's going to figure out what graphs it's going to go through. It just brings up those pre-baked paths, and now the only two pathfinding calculations I have to do are in this first room, and from this node here to this node, and the final room from this node to this node. So it's very, very computationally efficient. So I'm just going to play it, and all this guy's doing is just sort of moving around. It's very simple, following the path that I set. These are smooth, by the way, because I'm using, I'm drawing a spline. I'm fitting a curve to the points that it chooses. If you actually look, oh, by the way, there is music playing in the background, so you're not crazy. It's just whatever I'm listening to. So if I turn on, nope, not that, this. You can see that the line just goes through these points that are chosen. But they're smooth, so it doesn't look as weird as the guys moving through the rooms, you know, because then he'd just be moving in a bunch of straight lines, and that looks awkward. So I guess that's it. I mean, that's all I really was going to talk about here. Just something that I spent a little bit of time learning, and the results are pretty good. Nothing to complain about. There's a couple bugs here and there, but I'll squish them eventually.